In this review, I'll be taking a look at Transformers Beast Wars Depth Charge, who can probably name all the zones of the ocean. This review was requested by BrutalBruticus. I've left a link to his channel in the description. Please, go check him out. As alt modes go, Depth Charges is pretty unique, being a robotic manta ray. The first thing of note is his tail, which is pretty long and segmented. The wings are also segmented, but they don't offer too much in the way of motion. The front has plenty of shiny chrome, though the two yellow manta ray eyes are a little tough to see against it. He's got his name stamped on the chrome, I guess in case you forget which figure you're holding. This is, Depth Charge. His undercarriage does reveal a few robot parts, but they're not easily identified as such. He's got two maximal symbols on the underside of each wing, which are chromed out as well. Nice touch. A big beast to be sure. Depth Charge's alt mode gets a 7.5. Even though Depth Charge has a tertiary space cruiser mode, I'm skipping it due to it being rather silly. Transformation to robot mode is just right for a figure of this size. Not too complicated, but not overly simple either. There are some rather thin panels involved, so you might want to take it a little easy. 2. Be careful of the disc firing mechanism, as it's easy to launch those projectiles while in mid-transformation. A neat, if cautious, experience. Transformation gets an 8.5. Depth Charge's robot mode takes up a lot of space and can be a bit unwieldy. His head sculpt evokes a robotic fishiness and sort of reminds me of the Kraken's head from the original Clash of the Titans movie. His transmetal bits not only highlight this mode, but also seem to be of a better quality than the other Transmetal Beast Wars Transformers I own. A look at the back of the bot reveals a massive bit of kibble. Even if you don't count the manta ray wings among his kibbly bits, still there's no denying the rest of his chunky backpack. It's so massive that the better part of the beast mode's tail needs to act as a prop to keep him from falling over. It's definitely an odd design choice, and in my opinion detracts somewhat from an otherwise great looking robot. I'm giving robot mode a 7.5. As far as range of movement goes, Depth Charge has got plenty. Decent articulation abounds in his shoulders and elbows, his hips, and his double-jointed knees. His head has a horizontal rotation, and there's even a good bit of waist swivel. Pity that's all marred by his inability to stand without the aid of the beast mode tail. Though he can get into many poses, the trouble is trying to get him to stand in any of them. You have to get the weight distribution just right, or he'll drop like he's drunk on Energon. Still, his actual movement range is good, so articulation scores an 8.5. Depth Charge has several gimmicks, and all of them are very decent. The first is his maximal rub symbol located on the underside of the big flap that hangs off of his back as kibble. Next is the somewhat unheard of trick of a piece of beast mode becoming a weapon. That's right, the tip of his manta ray tail becomes a sword. But that's not all. There's a shark drone that attaches to him in alt mode, and it becomes a handheld gun with launching missiles, though I only have one of the missiles for it. Finally, his chest is a disc launcher, and the firing mechanism is incorporated into, and I suspect at least a part of, the reason for his kibble. The discs are stacked inside the chest, one atop another, and the act of firing one sets up the next one in the pile to be launched. These gimmicks are mostly well done, though the disc launcher seems the main culprit for the figure's kibble. Gimmicks score an 8. Overall score for Depth Charge is an 8. Alt mode is rather well done. Transformation is tidy. Robot mode is a little on the kibbly side, and the articulation, specifically posability, suffers for it. Gimmicks are good even though one of them is kind of responsible for his huge backpack. Recommended. As a Transformer figure, Depth Charge has lasting appeal. Sure, he's got his faults, but the overall package more than makes up for his shortcomings. If you don't already have him, he's pretty easy to find on the secondary market and not overly expensive. Definitely a good catch. Depth Charge says, "Hey kids, remember, fish are friends, not food."